Hello and welcome. So we're continuing our pre-test for Unit 5, Integrated Math 3. We are on number 8. Again, disclaimer, if I make a mistake, I am human. It will happen most likely. Just let me know where so we can learn from my mistake. If there is a loud bell or an intercom, I apologize in advance. We are on campus. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. We're going to continue. We're almost done, I think. Almost, not quite. Still a long way to go. So let's move it along. All right, number 8, identify the domain and range. So we have identify the domain, identify the range, and then sketch the graph. So I'm actually going to do part 3 first. I'm going to sketch, then identify the domain and range because I'm a visual person, so I'd like to see the graph before I start to identify the domain and range. What you need to do is you need to identify that this is a square root. There's a secret 2 in there. You don't need to write that. Doesn't matter. You just need to know that this is a square root, meaning, excuse me, there will be a restricted domain. There are things that x cannot be because if x are certain values, then it becomes a negative inside the radical or inside the bubble, and we can't have a negative inside the bubble with a square root. Easiest way to graph. Start out with your HK. H is always going to be the opposite of the number that you see inside. So in this case, I see a -2. The opposite of that is 2. K is always going to be exactly what you see here, so -4. Because I know that we have a restricted domain, this is a square root, you don't want to make the inside negative. So if I have a 2 here and I put a 4, or excuse me, if I put a 1 in here, 1 minus 2 is -1. I can't have a -1. So therefore, my endpoint is my HK. So I also know this is going to be a positive function because my A value is positive. We don't care that it's a fraction. We just care that it's a positive, okay? So then I'm going to go up 1. So then 3 minus 2 is, so we have 3/5. 3 minus 2 minus 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. I know that one. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 3/5 is still 1. And then so we have 3/5 minus 4. So we can convert this into a fraction if you'd like. Excuse me, a common denominator. So we have 5/20. So we have negative, what is -17/5. Or you can do this and say 3/5 minus 4. And that's going to be, let's see, if we wanted to round it to a decimal, it's -7.4. Okay, and so the next one we want here is we want this x minus 2 on the inside to be a pretty number. So I want it to be 4 because I know that the square root of 4 is 2. So then here I have x minus 2 is equal to 4. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. X is equal to 6. So if I plug in 6, 6 minus 2 is 4. So here it is. 6 minus 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. Let's actually do it here. And then we have the room. Why not? 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 times 3/5 is 12/5. Minus 4, again, common denominator. I'm going to change that to 20/5. So 12 minus 20/5. We have -8/5. Or we can say that is -1.6. Okay, so it is an increasing function. We know that it's increasing. Don't let the negative numbers scare you. So start out with your endpoints. So I have 2 and -4. So 3 and -7.4. And then 6 and -1.6. So -1, 1.6 is somewhere here. So this one here, 3 and -7, you see how this is a random point? So something went wrong. My math is wrong on this one. So I'm going to double check because I know it should be an increasing function. So it should look something like, oh, you can't see that. It should look something like, still can't see it. Oh, come on. It's okay. It should look something like, there it is, like that. But because I have this random point, something went wrong. So let's double check. Let's go back here. Let's go back. Okay. 3 minus 2 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 3 over 5 is 3 over 5. So 3/5 minus 4 is negative 17 over 5. And we're going to convert that to a decimal. Still saying that I get it right. So let's see what's happening here. What did I do wrong? Negative 3 because from what I'm thinking, it should be somewhere here. So we should be around 3-ish, not 7-ish. Should be something like this. So let's double check again. Let's double check for the third time. Doesn't matter. So square root of 3 minus 2 times 3/5 minus 4. Okay, let's take it slow. Square root of 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 3/5 minus 4. So this is 3/5 minus 4. Let's see here. I'm not sure why it's not giving me the right answer. Ah, there it is. Because this is not 7. See, I'm telling you, it's great to check your work. Okay. If we were to do this as a mixed fraction, 5 goes into 17. How many times? 3 times 5 is 15, so it'd be 3. What's left over? 15, 16, 17, 2/5. So technically I should have a negative 3 point something, in this case 3.4. I have no idea where I got my 7 from. Maybe the 7 was tripping me up here. I have no idea. But I'm happy with negative 3.4. Negative 3, so it's going to be a little bit more curved. Negative 3 and negative 3.4 here. There you go. Now that looks much better. 3 points, is more than enough. You want 3 points. Okay, so when you're here, you still have to answer 1 and 2. It's asking for domain and range. So domain is all of the possible x values. So you're looking at your endpoint. And from your endpoint, is it going all the way up to infinity or is it going down to infinity? So your endpoint here is 2. The smallest it can be on the x-axis is 2. And then it's going all the way up to infinity. Range is what's the smallest that it can be. Well, it can be negative 4. And then it's going all the way up to infinity as well. So we have your domain and range. Woo, we got through it. We got through it together. Okay, move on to number 9. Write the equation for the given graph. First thing first, you need to identify your turning point. Okay, here it is. And your form is going to be f of x. It's an equation, so you need f of x is equal to a and fruit of x minus h plus k. So if you identify your turning point or your end point, you're pretty much done. Okay, so this is a cube root. I know that because it's like a John Travolta, we call this a John Travolta, but it's John Travolta pushed over, right? Flipped over on its side. X minus, so identify where your turning point is. This is, what is this? Negative 5 and 3. HK. Remember, H is always the opposite. So we have the opposite of negative 5 is 5. Keep this. And then plus K. K is 3. Now, there are 2 ways to identify what your A value is. Okay. And excuse me, this is always the opposite. So we have negative 5, so this should be plus 5. Always opposite. Okay, so then your first thing that you can do is if you go over 1, and go up. And if you can hit a pretty point, then you're happy because this is going to be your A value. Same thing, if you go over 1 and you go down, this is going to be your A value. Okay? So it does matter if you're going from left to right. If you, from your left point to the right-hand side, you don't even need pretty points on this. You are decreasing. You're going downhill. Imagine if this is a slope. You're going skiing. You're going downhill. That means your A value is going to be negative. If it's the opposite and you're going, oh, let's see if I can do it real quick. It looks something like this. Then you're going uphill. Then your A value is positive. So going uphill is positive. Downhill is negative. So we're going over 1, down, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So we have A value is negative 3. Then we have cube root of x plus 5 plus 3. Don't forget this is an equation, so we need function notation. And here is your formula. Here is your equation for the given function. All right, let's move on. Oh, I see multiple choice. Yes, there may be multiple choice on this test. And that's, you know what? Multiple choice gives you an option of getting it right or wrong, doesn't give you an option of pity points. So if you're happy, you're happy. If you're not, I'm sorry. Okay, so simplify. It's just asking us to simplify what this is, okay? So you're going to be rewriting this, okay, rewriting this. This here you want to rewrite as an exponent. So remember, if nothing's there, that's a 2. That's your index. Your exponent is all of your interior. All of it is in a bubble. And this bubble is exponent of 1. So I'm going to rewrite that as 175 p to the 4th. All of that is being raised to 1/2. Okay? Now, this is your power property of exponents. You're going to rewrite that as 175 to the 1/2 power, p to the 4th to the 1/2 power. When you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you're going to multiply them. So I have 175 to the 1/2. This is p 4 over 2. So I have 175 to the 1/2 p squared. Now here's the thing though. Process of elimination is great on multiple choice. I already know I have a p squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I have a p squared. So that one won't work. And that one won't work. Process of elimination. So now you have 2 choices. So now we need to simplify what 175 is. What 1/2 is just saying it's a square root of 175. So write this out, factors. So again, multiple choice, you can always work backwards and see, hey, can a 64 be pulled out or can a 25 be pulled out? So I'm going to probably say 25 because 25 times what is 175? 25 times, let's see, 25, ooh, 175 divided by 25 is 7. So then this here is the square root of 25, which is 5. I'm running out of room. So then my final answer is 5p squared, square root of 7. So my answer here is C. All right, number 11, it is asking me to simplify. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, let's see what we have here. We are adding and subtracting these. Okay, adding and subtracting these. So let's see if we can simplify it first. Okay, let's see if we can simplify it first. Because I'm seeing that I have a 6, so maybe we can pull out a 6 here. Simplify that base first. Let's see here. So I know that let's see if we can do this. This is negative 2 times 6 to the 1/5 power plus 2 times 6 to the 1/5 power minus 96 to the 1/5 power. So this here, we can say, hey, can we pull anything out? Can 96 be pulled out? And it's almost saying, let me get something else to write on because there's not a lot of room here. 5th root of 96. What are the factors of 96? And see if we can pull anything out. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have a 6 and a 6. When we rewrite it, we have a 6 and a 6. That's our base. So if we can get a 6 out of here, that would be fantastic. But again, we need to have it be the fifth root of something times 6. Okay? So then, let's see here. What times 6? I'm trying to think. I don't think that works. I don't think 6 works, but let's see if we can still simplify it though. I think it's 32. 32 times 3 is 96, and the fifth root of 32, 2 times 2 5 times is, all right, well, let's see. Let's keep going. So I can rewrite this. I have negative 2, 6 1/5, and I can do 2 times 6 1/5 minus, and this here is 2, because I was able to factor that out, times 3 1/5. Okay. Here's the thing, you guys. I have a negative 2 times 6 to the 1/5. I have a positive 2 times 6 to the 1/5. So these really just cancel out. They go away. So the only thing we're left over is this bit right here. So negative 2 times 3 to the 1/5, which is the same thing as saying negative 2 fifth root of 3. And that is C. C is our answer. All right, number 12. Number 12. Number 12 is, what is that? Okay, number 12. Let's see here. This is multiplication, and we're probably going to have to distribute that. So let's see. Again, I'm running out of room, so I'm trying to use some sticky notes here to save some space. Let's distribute that. Let's rewrite it. So I have 2 to the 1/2 times 6 to the 1/2 plus 3. So I have 2 to the 1/2 times 6 to the 1/2 plus 3 times 2 to the 1/2. So let's see if we can't multiply these together. So don't fall into that, because the bases have to be the same. Okay, the bases have to be the same. But let's see if we can simplify anything here. I am thinking. You know what? I'm thinking like this. Let me go back. Square root of 2 times square root of 6 plus 3 is the same thing as square root of 2 times square root of 6 plus 3 times the square root of 2. So instead of converting it to fractions, I'm gonna leave it. This here is like saying, so maybe we can do it. Square root of 2 times 6, which is the square root of 12, which is the square root of, this is 4 times 3, which is 2 root 3. And then we have plus 3 root 2. I see it. B. I'm going to redo this here. I'm going to redo it here. So what it is, root 2 times root 6 plus 3 root 2. I distributed this. This right here we can combine. I'm saying 2 times 6 because it's multiplication. Then we're saying 3 root 2. This here is root 12. Root 12 can be simplified to 2 root 3. And we have our answer. B. All right, you guys. Almost.